20 minutes after 7, you're here on the AM show. Now, some branches of the National Association of Graduate Teachers threatened to embark on a strike action beginning today on unpaid allowances. Some of the members are reported to have referred to the National Labour Commission as having completely lost its power to manage labour issues in the country. Today is the 30th of September, the deadline that they gave. Children going to be roaming the schools without supervision as the school fees that we pay for this possibly strike period just going to go waste. We'll get some answers to all these questions that we're asking right now. Angel Kabono is the Vice President of NAGRAT, and he joins us live in studio. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
We had a conversation not too long ago. Yeah. I was hopeful, maybe. Are you on strike?
No, we are not on strike as we speak. But the signs are showing that if things don't go right, the possibility of strike could not be prevented.
If things don't go right, I mean, what is going wrong?
Well, we have raised some concerns and indicated to our employers outstanding grievances that they have not responded positively to. Grievances that the Labour Commission is ruled on more than a year ago. That involved the Ministry of Finance, that involved the Ghana Education Service, the Ministry of Education, and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. And as we speak today, those issues have not been resolved.
Can we go into the details of your issues?
Yes. We're talking about unpaid allowances, transfer grant. The conditions of service prescribes that when you transfer a worker from one area to another area, you pay that worker transfer grant, that is 2 months gross salary and transportation allowance, so that he will be able to cart his or her things from one area to the other. A lot of people in the Ghana Education Service have been transferred, and all these people have not been paid their transfer.
How many people are we looking at? Because I don't want to imagine that all of you have been transferred in 1 year.
No. In fact, at our last count, we're talking of more than 7,000 to 8,000 people. But you see, it's an exercise that is ongoing. So you will not be able to get a static figure because it does not end at one particular place, at one particular point. So all these people have been transferred from one area to the other for reasons best known to the employer, but the employer is failed to pay their transfer grant.
What period are we talking about?
Oh, we're talking as far back as 2010. We're talking people have been transferred as far back as 2010, and as of 2015, they have not been paid their transfer grants. And we're also looking at a situation where people have been promoted from one rank to the other, and promotion comes with increased remuneration, from where you were to where you are. And those people have not been given their right figures, and even when they are put on their right scale as we speak, the arrears that ought to be paid them have not been paid them. Then we're talking about car maintenance allowance, which is a condition within the in our conditions of service, a prescription in our conditions of service.
Car maintenance allowance. Are you all given vehicles?
No, those who qualify for it. It is not everybody who qualifies for it. So there's a criteria that you have to satisfy, and when you satisfy that, you are giving. So once you are giving, you ought to be paid, and that is in arrears since 2013. That has not been done. And as we are talking, our bargaining collective agreement, our conditions of service is expired, and we should have negotiated that more than 2 years ago, and that also is outstanding, and it's not been done.
So how do you renegotiate now? On what basis?
You see, when it expires, you write to the employer, and then the employer notifies you to commence negotiations. So you constitute your negotiation team, and you go and sit with the employer, and then you engage in negotiations. Unfortunately, that has not been done.
So you haven't even begun the process?
No, we've not begun the process, because you have to be invited by the employer for you to sit down and negotiate the details of it.
So these are your issues?
These are the issues.
But they all sound, more like employer-employee kind of issue, the everyday things that we come about. Why are you making it public, or why do you now want to go on strike because some of these things which can amicably be settled?
You should be my Director General because you have seen that it's very simple to be settled. So my wonder is, why is my Director General not sitting down with them to settle it? You see how simple it is? You have to sit with the people and settle it. The problem is that we've written countless letters to them. They have not sat with us.
Who are you communicating with?
No, our employer is the Ghana Education Service. The government takes the collateral damage, but the employer is the Ghana Education Service.
Why would the Education Service not respond to your calls? I mean, why would they not respond to the letters that you've written? Why would they know that you have visible issues and will not address?
You see, the Education Service do not control the purse. So since it has monetary implication, they need clarification from the Ministry of Finance. Now, it looks as if that is where the problem is.
I think the last time we spoke, you did indicate that it's the release of the money that's a problem.
Yes, yes. You see, you go to Ministry of Finance, oh, we've released the money. You go to the Ghana Education Service, the money is not been released. Somebody is toying with the teachers and the future of our kids' education in this country.
And you think the way out is to threaten a strike action, give a deadline for it?
When, as a human being, when you get suffocated at a point, or when you read the cul-de-sac and you cannot go beyond the wall, all that you do is to react. And this is not something as if you get that one day and say, I want to go on strike. It's not a situation where you get that one day, you don't even engage your employers and you say you want to go on strike. It's a case where you've written countless letters, you've made countless overtures to the authorities that be, and at the end of the day, they do not respond positively, or they don't even attach importance and seriousness to the issues that you raise.
Why not going through the Labour Commission? Some of your members have said that they are basically useless.
Yes, because...
Are they?
Well, I wouldn't use the word useless, but they seem to be getting to the point of being toothless, because you are the authority that can direct, after hearing two parties, to engage in activity A, B, or C. Yes, indeed, we went to the Labour Commission about a year ago. The Labour Commission met the Minister of Finance, met the various unions, met the employer, and gave certain directives. The directives have not been complied with. At the end of the day, the directive of the Labour Commission have not been carried through. The question now is, when directives of the Labour Commission is not carried through, what should the Labour Commission do? The Labour Commission will have to go to court and ensure the enforcement of the directives. That the Labour Commission is not done. So people begin to treat the Labour Commission with contempt.
Well, why is it not able to go back to court to enforce its own directives?
That I wonder why they are not able to do that. They need to up their game.
Do you appreciate the challenges that the Labour Commission also has?
Oh, they definitely will have certain challenges. All agencies of government do. But it is their responsibility to trumpet their challenges and let the government that appointed them, the government that superintends over them, to address those challenges. If they fail to do that, they have themselves to blame.
So are we sidelining them now? Is that what you're doing?
No, we are not sidelining them. In fact, you'll be surprised that today I have 3 meetings to attend. I have the Ghana Education Service all of a sudden woke up from his slumber. They've invited me at 9 o'clock. The Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has invited me at the Minister of Employment Conference Room at 10 o'clock. The Labour Commission have summoned me to its office at 1 o'clock. How come in one day we have been invited to 3 meetings? What were they doing? Could they have acted earlier than today? Why are they? They've arranged all these meetings today because people are beginning to realize that there is something amiss. There is a vacuum that is supposed to be filled, and there is some work that is supposed to be done. If they had done these in times past, we wouldn't have gotten to the situation where we find ourselves.
But arranging meetings doesn't solve your problem.
Absolutely not. If we attend those meetings today and they do not address our grievances, we don't have any alternative than to ask our members to lay down their tools.
What do you mean? I mean, for instance, when you go to the Education Ministry, whom you say they've just woken up, what do you expect them to tell you?
We expect them to tell us that we have had directives from the Ministry of Finance to pay X number of teachers their outstanding monies, and that we are transferring the outstanding monies from point A to point B on this day and that, and then give us a timetable that this can be resolved. Then that one, the Lord God will touch our heart for us to wait a while and see whether they do what they are expected to.
But do you seriously think they're going to tell you what you expect today?
Then they are inviting me to a meeting that will not address our concerns, and the consequences will not be too good for all of us.
Which could be, I mean, you're looking at a strike action, and already the message is out there that effective 30th of September, you're going to lay down your tools. Today is the day.
Yes, that is the mandate given to all of us at conference in Bolgatanga in August, in early September. And the various regional chairmen are calling on national to heed to the call of conference if we do not get any positive results. That's what they are doing. And if we don't get any positive result by the close of today, we will have to activate that action.
Okay, so you've told us your expectations when you go for the GES meeting. How about the Labour Commission?
Yeah, we also expect that when we go to the GES and we get positive results, and go to the Fair Wages and Salaries meeting, we get a positive results, we will take these positive results to the Labour Commission and ask the Labour Commission to commit that to its ruling.
What would the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission tell you, for instance?
It will just intensify the expected position that, or the expected position of the ministry, that Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, at that meeting actually, let me explain, the Ministry of Finance will be there, the Audit Service has been invited, the Ghana Education Service has been invited, the Ministry of Education is, in fact, all relevant stakeholders have been invited, all the players in this issue have been invited, the unions will be there, and a final decision, a workable decision ought to be taken at that meeting. So I'm placing more premium on the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission meeting than the Ghana Education Service meeting.
But I am not too hopeful there, because you don't have a bargaining tool in your hand. It's expired.
No. The conditions of service is operational until a new one
comes into force. Okay.
So as a matter of fact, we still have an operational conditions of service that is expired, because things change as time goes on, but then it is still workable in law.
So your action is pending the outcome of all these meetings that you have today?
Yes. As a matter of fact, by the close of today, we should get something positive from all these meetings.
And if it's not your positive, then you lay down your tools. What kind of action are we looking at? Is it an indefinite one?
Oh, definitely. If you are preempting my actions, but if we take an action now, looking at the work that we've done, the fact that we've informed Labour Commission 7 days ago, the fact that we've informed the Ghana Education Service, the Ministry, and Fair Wages and all stakeholders, if by the close of today we do not get anything positive, we will have to engage in meetings and declare an industrial action.
Should we begin to sue either the teachers or the GES for paying school fees and teachers not going to the classroom?
Well, that will also be an action taken by stakeholders to intensify the debate, because I'm sure when anyone sues any of these people, the person will have to respond, and will have to respond in the measure that it deems fit. It will widen the debate. It may also sensitize people and bring people onto the...
Do you care about the children who be in the classrooms with no teachers?
Absolutely.
Even though their parents have paid school fees for them to be there?
Yes, absolutely. But what kind of teacher stands in front of kids and that teacher is demotivated? What are you teaching the kids?
We're not talking about your salaries. We're talking about allowances.
Yes, you see, the allowances is a package. If I'm promoted to a rank, and then you do not give me the remuneration commensurate with the rank that you've promoted me, or you've transferred me, in the first place, the transfer itself is dislocated me from my comfort zone to a new area that I'll have to get used to. I'll have to move with my family, I have to move with my property and all that. Well, I accept it because those are service obligations. I go to the area, the cost involved in my movement, you have refused to pay me. and I'm supposed to teach you delegated legislation. You see, we have different levels of communicating to kids at that age. And if I am demotivated, you'll be surprised that there will be what we call the mirror effect. A teacher who is demotivated mirrors that demotivation to his kids. And at the end of the day, the kids themselves will be those who lose as a result of the inaction of authority. So that is what the situation is, and that is how we look at it. That if you pay people peanuts, all that they can produce are monkeys. That is how it is. If your kid is going to any school and the teachers in the school are not paid well, you will be surprised that they will not produce good results.
But, you know, NAGRATs, your members are proud to be teachers. Is this what they wanted to do? Yes.
That is why they are in it all these years. Those who taught us in those days, I was in Pope John's, those who taught me in those days died, though of course most of them died peaceful death. I don't think they died well in the days of their retirement. And I will not want to walk in those shoes. My mother was a teacher, my father was a teacher, and I don't think in terms of the remuneration aspect is anything that encourages people. So as time goes on, we need to improve our game. We need to improve the lot of those who teach our kids. How do you send your child to be transformed from one stage of life to another stage by somebody who is not motivated? I cannot understand.
You know, okay, so we have to end it, but I get the sense that because of what has happened to people that you came to meet, that's why you are like aggressive these days, so you get better conditions. Is that it?
It is part of it.
Okay.
Well, it's actually part of it. That, look, who was a teacher 20 years ago? Is that the type of teacher we want to see ourselves to be today? Is that the type of teacher we want to see tomorrow? These are questions that we need to discuss. And then it also influences the caliber of people who are taken into the teaching profession. Okay. And I think that high caliber people should be taken into the teaching profession, and they ought to be compensated very well for the work they do.
We'll talk after your meeting. I'm grateful for your time this morning.
My pleasure.
That's Angel Kabono, Vice President of NAGRAT. Up next, I'm hosting Dr. Joyce I and Mr. Sam Kweko Asari Bediakon, who is a composer, a pianist, and an organist. There's more here on our show. Stay with us.